Jammu, Ladakh, Kashmiri Pandits, Sikhs,
I mean,
Shias.
why are we communalizing the situation?
I'm not.
The issue should be,
Just because
why are people being killed?
Am I communalizing the situation?
No, I'm not referring to you, the media particularly. Why are you communalizing the situation? We should be discussing why are civilians being killed. We asked for Armed Forces Special Powers Act revocation. We asked for Disturbed Areas Act revocation. What's wrong in that?
But
Post-2002.
I would like to put forward a point here. Whenever we raise our voice, we're always targeted for being communal, right? We need to understand that Kashmir is a big problem, and there are different stakeholders in the problem.
Yeah, there's nothing communal about a dialogue, Syed. You know, it's not a question of that any kind of dialogue is necessarily communal.
And
I mean, any kind of dialogue, people have to be heard. Different voices have to be heard. But on the other hand, Radhika, why don't the Kashmiri Pandits to appreciate that, you know, there is this demand for the Armed Forces Special Powers Act to be repealed, for PSA not to be put on children.
We do.
Because school children are being put on PSA.
Let me say
the understanding of their pain as well should be your responsibility.
Let me say tonight, Army, CRPF has nothing to do in Kashmir. But at the same time, we as Kashmiris, Muslims and Kashmiri Pandits need to introspect. Why Army is there? बाकी states में क्यों नहीं है army? I mean, they think that there is discrimination, selective discrimination. We saw in Mathura, how people were killed. I mean, there is no selective discrimination. Everywhere it happens.
But there's not a selective discrimination. And if there's army in Srinagar, why doesn't New Delhi recognize and why doesn't New Delhi acknowledge that Kashmir is a dispute?
The fact that you've been brought to Delhi and the fact that you interacted with the Home Minister of India means that New Delhi recognizes a problem.
So you can't keep
on saying that you're not recognizing the issue. The fact that we're having this discussion here
you are
is
recognizing,
proof.
I'm not referring to you. New Delhi recognizes this issue when people are being killed. You start the program with Kashmiri stone pelters have put the situation out of control, and it is because of stone pelting that I am here with you.
That's a valid point. You feel that you only through politics of violence.
Exactly, and I honestly believe that violence is the only language that New Delhi understands.
You know, you are here in Delhi.
I disagree with that. Violence is the only language that New Delhi understands. We were having a pretty similar discussion yesterday in the conference, and there were some people there from the Islamic University of Science and Technology who were in different words justifying what happened in 89 and 90. They said that हाँ elections rig हो गए, लोग angry थे, इसलिए protest किया. So it's not just azadi, and the psyche there is not entirely peaceful. So the element of violence still remains, and the fact that people of his generation in Kashmir, some of them feel that what happened in 89 and 90, and what happened in 89 and 90 is euphemistically called the armed struggle of 89 and 90. People generally forget that the first target of the armed struggle were Kashmiri Pandits.
The first step of Azadi.
The step of Kashmir.
So there is need to perhaps send out a more reassuring message from people like you. Go ahead.
Radhika, see, I mean, you are speaking here in New Delhi. You and me belong to same place. Yeah. We share the same ethnicity.
I mean, have the same homeland.
We
got so young. आप लोगों को तो प्यार बांटना चाहिए.
I can only say one thing to Radhika. I have been reiterating this fact time and again since last 2 days that people here in Kashmir can only sympathize with you. It's only people like Sarmad and me who can actually empathize with you.
And how do you show that? How do you show that on the ground?
We are actually this now that whatever happened in 1989, if people left.
You speak for yourself. Remember that.
Yes, I'm representing myself. I choose people to represent me. I'm here to represent myself, right? So whatever happened in 1989 is very unfortunate. Some people left for themselves. Some were instigated. Whatever that is.
This pains me. This pains me a lot. Because people have been time and again saying that Jagmohan was responsible for it. They went outside themselves. We are not migrants. We are refugees in our own country. And government of India has recognized that. We should be declared as internally displaced persons.
Kashmir mein rehna hai, Allahu Akbar कहना है. This was the slogan of the JKLF and the Hizbul Mujahideen.
I am not representing JKLF.
But you think that is past, it is history. Now the Kashmir Pandit is welcome to come back if he wants to go to Kashmir. Why don't you guys go back and form and build your ties with your home state?
I want to return. For last 3 years I've been trying, but I have to always cancel my flight tickets because there has been ruckus on the streets. But again, my house has been burned. First. Second, people like terrorists like Yasin Malik, Bitta Karate are cheered in the valley like heroes. So how can I return when killers of the valley are on the streets of Kashmir?
Should youth not distance itself from Saeed Gilani?
I think 89-90 is history now. We should not be time and again reiterating and talking about 89-90.
That's what everybody tells us.
Today we are here to discuss about what is happening in Kashmir since last 3 months. We are talking about civilian deaths. And so far as Kashmiri Pandit brethren are concerned, we heartily feel for them. We do. And they do for us. I mean,
can I respond to that? Can I respond to that? Because we've heard this time and again, right? Everybody, right from Saeed Ali Shah Gilani to Midwise Umar Farooq to Omar Abdullah says that come back, please. There's a reason why we're not coming back, right? We're not idiots. We're not like we're not going back to our own land because we don't love the land, right? Most of my parents have lived their lives there. So you must understand that there's a big trust deficit between the Pandits and the Muslims there.
And that trust
just a sec.
So how can the trust deficit be bridged?
Exactly.
We're trying to build bridges here. How can it be bridged?
The majority of a state always has the responsibility to maintain multiculturalism, right? India is a secular country because most of the Hindus in Kashmir want peace with Muslims and Sikhs and Parsis, everybody, right?
But shouldn't the Kashmiri Pandits also give some assurance that they're not anti-Muslim?
Who says that we are anti-Muslim?
With the kind of politics that you play. Look at what happened. Look at what happened during the Amarnath Yatra controversy.
What I found personally, without any political stimulus of that kind, I found that the Amarnath agitation ka jo pura basis tha, I don't get that. I found that it was intolerance of the highest degree.
Okay, but so you're both accusing each other of intolerance.
No,
you also feel
we are accusing the separatists. Kashmiri Muslims are our brothers and sisters.
So you feel that the Kashmiri youth should distance themselves from people like Gilani.
But
you don't Yasin Malik that this time. I agree that 2008-2009 mein jo bhi hua, that was obviously there were leaders sitting over there. But this time, even Mr. Omar Abdullah has openly acknowledged in public, on the media, that whatever is happening this time is completely directionless. This movement is not being led by someone. The separatists have been put under house arrest, and whatever is happening, this is a people's movement.
It's a people's movement. It's an anti-Omar Abdullah movement. Is that what you're saying?
It's an anti-India
movement.
It's an anti-India movement.
But
then if it's an anti-India movement, then how do you expect the Indian government to react?
Because they don't act until and unless we don't do something, until and unless we don't pick a stone. I mean, if there is a lull and if there is kind of a silence, and
so it's an anti-India separatist movement.
Yes.
But then how do you expect the Indian government to then react to an anti-India separatist movement, if not by more force? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Why would then you expect the government of India to reach out to you if your agenda is separatism?
Our immediate demand this time is not Azadi. We have put 4 conditions before the government of India. We want revocation of ASPA, Armed Force Special Powers Act. We want the release of political prisoners, and we want the identification of the unidentified graves in Kashmir, and things like that. You tell me, Sagarika, for God's sake, yesterday we met Mr. Home Minister, and he made a fervent plea to us youth, and he said that you go back to your place and tell the people of Kashmir कि वो violence को छोड़ दे. So because I'm helpless, I cannot do anything until unless people don't stop resorting to violence. I cannot do.
But don't you trust the government? Don't you trust the government to do anything for you unless you stop the violence?
No, there is a trust deficit in Kashmir.
There is a trust deficit with the government as well.
I think there is no trust at all.
There is no trust at all. Can you understand their pain?
I can understand it.
Are you expecting them to be too generous even as they're hurting?
I can very much understand their pain. We have the same blood, we have the same genes, but at the same time, just yesterday we saw Asya Andrabi being exposed in the media, how her own son has applied outside in a Malaysian university for a seat, but at the same time she has been hell-bent on telling the students that you should sacrifice your life, you should sacrifice your studies. This is clear double standards. I mean, your own media has exposed this.
And we need to understand that, as I said before, that there are different stakeholders in the problem. So, when you say that we are communalizing the issue, we are not. We're merely referring to the fact that Kashmiris, which is a very broad term, should not, and which I think should not be used, do not want freedom as a generalization. Kashmiri Muslims want freedom, and that's not something that's not a fact that I'm inventing.
That's a very important point, Syed. You know, as you belong to Jammu and Kashmir, and Jammu and Kashmir is Muslim, it is also Hindu. And the Hindu population
most of them
do not want azadi. They do not want autonomy. So doesn't that mean that your demand for azadi, your demand for autonomy, your demand for anti-India has to be a little bit tempered? Because this is a homeland not just of yours. This is their